The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC Now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Well, hello and welcome to the new channel. Born out of passion, we are a community that helps you be the new you. My name is Michelle Mras, PhD, streaming live from the beautiful mountains of Colorado, United States of America. You're watching Mental Shift Season 5, Episode 2. Well, good evening to the United States and to the Philippines. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Please welcome tonight my special guest. He's actually my business partner in something called Amplifluence. We'll talk about that later. But he is a Renaissance man. He's a father. He's a publisher. He's an amazing award-winning photographer. And that's all I'm going to say because you need to meet my friend, Ken, Dr. Smiley, Rochon. Where are you?
I am in Washington, D.C., and it's interesting, but I was going to apologize for not being here tonight, and I said, I'm going to be unapologetic, and I am going to show up.
You better show up.
You know, the universe would not allow anything else to happen but me being here.
I'm so glad. I'm sad for you, but glad for me. But
Actually,
Ken, you do so much, and Ken and I met, and I actually had him on one of the earlier seasons of back around July of last year or October of last year. And Ken and I, our relationship has grown because now we are partners in something called Amplifluence, and we travel around the United States and soon the world because we're going to Africa in July, but I'm hoping to get to the Philippines before that. But the whole thing with Ken is he truly is a Renaissance man. He is an award-winning photographer. He is an amazing publisher. He's published a lot of my books. We'll go into that. What else do you do, Ken? You own the Umbrella Syndicate. You are a music aficionado, whatever that word is. What else do you do that I don't know?
You know, I am really a marketer, and I have a lot of interest. So marketing allows me to have those interests come to life. And I want to just comment on our partnership.
Okay.
Because you led with that, and that's a big compliment to somebody. It means you trust them. And I have a definition about partnership. And since we started this, I guess we're pushing 9 months, maybe somewhere around there. I came with this definition, and you really defined it. So a partnership is an agreement, verbally or written, between two or more people where they agree to compete to unconditionally gift each other. And I think that's why so many things have come into play with us having fun and making abundance and making impact happen. It just comes as like harmony.
Yes. Thank you for that. And the thing is Ken and I started something called Amplifluence. I'm going to have you put that little screen up. Amplifluence. We have a third partner in there, but it's amplify your influence. And Ken, we started this with when we launched my first book, right? My Hold My Crown, Women of Grit Share Stories of Resilience. And he's like, well, you need to have a book launch, Michelle. And it ended up being, I didn't want to be alone. I wanted to bring all these other authors together. And so all these authors came together to help me with my book launch. I'm going to hold that book up, Hold My Crown, Women of Grit. We both have it up. And the thing is we did this, and then all these other authors came out, and Ken said, you need to repeat this. We need to do this again. And so we created Amplifluence. And if you look at the logo, that eye in the middle looks like a person. And we amplify them, that one person in the center. So if we can remove that, and then we can talk more about what Amplifluence does and how we bring it around the nation and the world. Are you ready for that, Ken? Where did Amplifluence come from?
I think we were playing on the back of the Keep Smiling card where it says we amplify goodness, and I have a show called Amplified. And if you think about amplification, it is making something louder without distorting it. So it's the truth louder. And Todd, I think, was the person who came up with the combination of taking amplifying and influence and putting it as one word. And we all agreed that that would work. And we got the domain too.
Yes, we did. So Amplifluence is something that Ken and I do together with our silent partner, Todd. We run around and we amplify the influence of authors, coaches, basically influencers of whatever area we go to. And if you want to learn more about what we do, where we go to amplifluence.com. And if you
talk about 3 legs,
excuse me,
we talk about 3 legs of Amplifluence, because that's what makes it unique.
Oh yes, please do.
So speak your message, publish your message, and convert your message. So the funnel guy is actually the person that helps us convert all this activity.
Yes, because people who have books or speak, or basically influencers, don't often make money off of what they do. They do it some other way. And we figured, why not help them make money doing what they love doing? And so that's what Amplifluence is about. And if you want to learn more about that, go to amplifluence.com. And if you look to find what the word looks like, oh, there it is. Thank you so much. Amplifluence.com. And then you can see where we've gone and where we're going.
And one more thing, if you don't want to learn more about it, still go to amplifluence.com.
Or go to Amplifluence on YouTube, because we have a podcast on there where we talk about where we're going and what we do. And we interview people that we've met around the world. Now, what's next? Well, Ken has a nonprofit called.
Well, it's called the Keep Smiling Movement. And golly gee, I have a card. Can you believe it?
Keep Smiling.
And we recently, our 39th card was just translated into Jamaican.
Keep Smiling, man.
And then this is our 36th or 37th. I think it's 37th. Keep Smiling card.
Magpatuloy sa pagnikiti.
That was beautifully said. I actually just want to say
my own language. I'm sorry. I'm so Americanized. Well, so we talk about your Keep Smiling, and then we'll show the book of what that Keep Smiling is, and what does it entail, and why is the Keep Smiling so important? And we'll talk about that when we put the book up. How about that?
Well, so first of all, it's not technically mine. This card was given to me by a gentleman named Barry Shore, and he's featured and promoted in over 200 Keep Smiling books. And I love the guy. He's a prophet. We call him the ambassador of joy. And he handed me this card, and I looked at it, and I just could not stop looking at how powerful this message is, because it was about positivity, but it was about continuing positivity. And it was about the ripple effect, or the recyclability of positivity. So I have had a blast handing this card to people and watching their reactions. And there is an executive director who helped us make it into a nonprofit, Dr. Andrea. I do want to give her a little shout out. And we have had this go into 36 languages because Barry Shore wants this smile to not just be the universal expression, but a card that everyone can actually give to someone else and make their day. How about that? Was that pretty good information?
It is. And we have an image. There it is. That's Barry Shore that he was just talking about.
And a lot of people think he's my son, but he's not. He's not younger than me.
He has more hair than you.
He does have more hair. That was a transplant that I gave him so he'd have facial hair.
Okay, so the Keep Smiling book. Now, it's a nonprofit. So where does the money of the nonprofit go? How does that work? What is that?
Well, it is not in the abundance we want it to be. So we use a lot of the money to go to nonprofits, do the photography, create these lovely books. And, hotel and flight expenses can exceed over $50,000 a year. So we do a lot of charity work, is really a charity marketing. And to get to those places, we need transportation. So we have made differences in people that had gold teeth or they just had rotting teeth. And we connected them to dentists, and we created a story that motivated other people. And, what is a smile worth? I would say it's priceless. I can't even imagine what I would feel like if I was missing teeth or making myself feel uncomfortable to actually express I'm happy. So our goal is to create dental and mental health. And we do that through physically the smile and mentally helping with bringing hope to people. There's been a lot of cases of suicide because of the pandemic. Depression's at an all-time high, stress. So we really are about shifting how people feel about gratitude and how they feel about life so they can approach it with hope and dignity and inspiration. And also leadership. That's a very big part of it.
So my next question is, what's in the Keep Smiling book?
Well, they do vary. I'll grab just one right
The dose
here.
of hope. The dose of hope is what we just showed.
Well, we did show the dose of hope, but this is one about scientists. And these are different scientists that bring hope to the world with their inventions. There's about 60 or 70 scientists in here with patents. So lovely.
Now you're close up. Show it.
Yes. So these are all lovely scientists that have patents that bring all kinds of technology and efficiency and actually free energy, magnetic, Tesla-esque. And then this is, of course, the one you already showed, the dose of hope, which you're in. And we have about look at us. We're doing the double down. So this is our hopes are, this is downloaded over 20 million times. Thanks to this show, we might have to move it up to 21 million, right?
Yes. Well, and the thing is with the dose of hope and the Keep Smiling movements, if you go to Keep Smiling or the keepsmilingmovement.com, how do they get to it?
Yeah, the keepsmilingmovement.com. And we have a lovely couple, Robert Peterson and Noelle Peterson, who are creating a more efficient system for people to onboard their chapters, and the chapters go into these books. And, people like Robert, you and I, we can just go into a book like this and find the most amazing guests for our podcast, our radio, our TV shows, because these people have changed the world. Can I brag about a couple of them?
Very quickly, because we have a lot of other things to get through.
I'll just say William Paul Young, who wrote The Shack and is a movie, is in there. And same with the gentleman who created Make-A-Wish Foundation, Frank Shanklitz. Yeah.
Phenomenal people tell the stories about whatever shifted them, something that keeps them smiling, something that moved them. So they're very inspirational stories. And what's beautiful about this is if you write in the chat, we can send it to you, the PDF version of this book, so you can have it and read through all the stories. And if you read through that and you find someone, you're like, oh my goodness, they're just so inspirational. I know someone who really needs to be in that book. You can nominate someone at the keepsmilingmovement.com and nominate them to give their story in the book. There is no cost.
But they don't know the value. The value is about $36,000 publicity. But the reason there's no cost,
American dollars.
Yes. And the reason there's no cost is that they've already paid. They paid by being an inspiring leader. They're not being punished for being inspiring.
Yeah, I love that. I love that about the Keep Smiling movement. But I thank you for sharing that. Now, the next thing I wanted to bring up is when we started doing the Amplifluence, we talked about, we bring authors together and coaches and things like that, mostly a lot of authors, okay? We have something that Ken has challenged all of us. It's the 50
book challenge. Yes.
The 50 book challenge. Can you put that image up? And
I have the new copy of the book too. Should I show that?
Show that.
Okay. Oops, so here's the new. So this is the happiness one. And there's a quote that actually is very reminiscent of what our friendship and our enrichment of our partnership has caused. It's that the difference between where you are today and where you'll be 5 years from now are the people you meet and the books you read. And you and I are just huge about authors actually changing the world and impacting the world. So if they get a book in someone's hands, it could change the direction of their abundance. It could change the direction of their freedom, everything.
Mm-hmm. No, it was incredible, that 50 book challenge. And so I've been challenged to put my 50 books that have inspired me into a book. And basically, I'm going to be putting out a book like this with the 50 books that have changed me. Now, the next thing that
one book a week. The idea is it's one book a week for 50 weeks.
And then the next thing that you challenged us is the Amazon review book.
Mm-hmm.
If you are an author and you are watching right now, you want to write us, write Ken or write me and say, I want to be part of this Amazon review club. Ken, can you explain what that is?
Well, there's so many authors that have published beautiful work, but they didn't necessarily think of the plan of how they're going to have social proof or a marketing system or a review system that allows people to actually say this book is worth purchasing. So you and I and all the people that make decisions on Amazon of what they're going to buy them off reviews. And there's too many really good books that don't have the SEO, don't have the credibility. And this system allows us to get the book out there, get honest reviews by giving the book away and having people really see that a lot of people love it.
And it's from author to author. So if you're interested and you're an author, you contact me, contact Ken, or contact TNC and say, hey, I'm an author. I want in on that. Ken and Michelle were talking about it. They'll connect you. And then that way we can get you also included into this book so you can be part of this Amazon Review Club. Okay, what's next?
That's what I want to know.
The next thing that I want to talk about is your book, The Father and Son Bond, was on the Times Square billboard.
Yes, thanks to our beautiful friend Janelle Harris, who we met at Ultimate Speaker Competition with Christoph Wyman. And the reason I give that shout out is you can meet so many amazing people when you're attracted by a person that brings heart-centered leaders together. So I'm so excited because she didn't just put this book, but she put Kenny's other book on Times Square, which was his joke book.
Really? The joke book was up there?
It was about 2 weeks before.
Okay, so here's the thing about that is Ken and his son. And Kenny is, what, 9 years old?
Yeah, he is not that small anymore.
No, but he has written many books. Can we show the first book here? And we're going to go through real quick and show the different.
That is not the first.
That's not the first book.
That's the fourth. That's the fourth book. It doesn't matter what order. That's the precursor to the collection.
Okay.
So actually, let's go back to that one for a second. So the precursor was setting the tone that Kenny's behavior could be modified just by saying what our favorite things were that we saw in him. So he is a very polite boy as a result of that book. And that gave us the idea that when the pandemic happened, why not Kenny take the reins and cause his own series?
Oh, okay. That's sweet.
So the bottom does not have his name because this was the precursor of the idea.
Okay, so what's the next book?
Next one is his first book. That's the joke book. I think that's next. Yep, that's it. And that's an actual picture of him turned into an illustration. Those are his favorite things he likes to laugh about. As you can see, there's a little fart cushion. Yeah. And then he loved duck season, wabbit season. So everything there was things that made him laugh. And so we let him Google away and find jokes that made him very happy. And then he wrote his own jokes, and his own jokes, in my opinion, are the funniest jokes in the back of the book. So, but he made his inaugural joke on a podcast about, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and he transformed in front of me from an introvert, shy, didn't like his voice, didn't like his pictures taken, no video, into a ham within like 2 weeks. He did his first joke, and he got laughter out of it, and he says, "When's the next podcast, Daddy?" And he did it again. And all of a sudden he was like, "Whenever there's a podcast, you just let me know, Daddy."
and I wanted to share that because so many people have books inside of them, or they see family members or children or whatever in their lives who have books of them who never let them out. Kenny is 9 and has 8 books. Okay?
And on his 8th birthday, he said, "Daddy, if I do 2 more books, I'll have 10 books on my 10th birthday."
Exactly. And I wanted to shout out to Helene and Katie, and I can't see the other name. It says Facebook user. But anyways, thank you so much for joining us. Please share the live stream because we have only just begun. Now, Kenny has one more book that I wanted to share because this one's kind of huge. His latest book that just came out is Kenny's favorite things about America.
Kenny's favorite places. Kenny's favorite places about America. Yes. Do you have the image for that, or do you want me to show it?
We have the image.
Okay. So Kenny took 2 years to do that. He was at Mission Barbecue having his favorite ribs and drinking his lemonade out of his cup. And I said, Kenny, you made all these really amazing books. What's a new idea? I see an idea in front of me. And we talked about America, and we decided we were going to visit all these places. And it took a long time to do this one. We had to hire 2 artists, one to do the backdrops and one to do placing Kenny in each one with his different America shirts. But on my birthday, Friday.
Oh, we got to make the screen big again because we need to see this.
This is, and by the way, Kenny got how big this is. President Joe Biden wrote Kenny and thanked him for sending his America book. And there's the letterhead. I mean, the envelope. And this is honestly one of Kenny's proudest days. And this occurred on the 8th book. And I'm so pleased about this because, if he had stopped at book 2, it's just, we never would have known. So, and to meet Barry Shore, I just want to make this point. That was the 13th forum of CEO Space. That was my 13th. I was not going to go 14th. And that was Barry's first one. I did some events for Ultimate Speaker Competition, and I continued. And then I met this person, Dr. Michelle Mras. And, you cut yourself off of a sequence of meeting and growing with a community, and you miss that kind of opportunity to get a letter.
From the president.
From the president, yeah. So Kenny did invite him to his birthday party too. So Kenny's, we'll see if he comes to the house.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty big. Okay, now what's the next thing we were going to talk about?
I think it was books. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, your books.
Was it? Yeah. I mean,
his book. You showed me a book and called Diagrams. And I laughed so hard because they're so obvious and funny. So if you could show that image, this book called Diagrams, Science of Humor and Human Behavior Edition. Inside of this book, you will find diagrams. What's your favorite diagram, Ken?
It is probably because I can't remember all of them, but I love the diagram where there's a big red circle, and on the outside it has a little square with red in it. And it says, what happens to helicopters in diagram? And it says explode in movies. What happens to helicopters on movies? Yeah. And every single time there's been a movie where the helicopter explodes. So it just shows the diagram that it always happens.
So if you want to giggle, pick up this book because it's funny. And it's
and there's also serious stuff in it too.
Well, that's why it's funny. It's so serious, but it points out the oddities of the things that we just accept as is, and points out how humorous it is because it is. So it's like something, I think one of the diagrams I remember is like everything in your head that matters. And then there's a little dot that says the things that you can control or something like that. It was like, I don't know. It's really funny.
Well, there's a serious one in there that I hope my son learns from, because I wish I had learned this. It's that if we can go to the main screen here, I just want to show this because it's in that diagram book. So it's a picture of a circle and then a circle inside. And if the circle inside is red, which is expenses, and the outside circle is green, you're in a state of abundance. And if the circle on the outside is red and the inside circle is green, which means you have more expenses than income, you're in scarcity. And I wish I'd known that when I was a kid, because I would have never put myself in scarcity ever. And every time you hit that credit card and you don't know you're out of control, you're actually living in scarcity.
Wow. Epiphanies, through wisdom comes success. This is Ken's dissertation for his PhD. And I picked it up and read it, and I know more about this man than I think I really ever need to. But it's really cool because he's in a past life, in another life, he is he's a movie person, but he also does a lot of music. You did a lot of DJing. You've got a DJ company. He knows music. And I learned a lot about him through the music. Have you ever met that, where you've met someone, you learn about their music and you learn more about who they are because of their music and movies and everything else? This is a brain dump of Ken Rochon, Dr. Smiley.
Well, Dr. Mraz,
Yes, sir.
the second edition just came out. It's in full color, and it had something like 300 improvements to it. And I took Kenny's facts in one of his books, and I put a factoid in the bottom of every page. So every page has a minor epiphany. And that's not in that book. So the new book is in full color, plus it has a factoid at the bottom of every single page. For instance, something like this: Iraq is the only country that has a Q in it. Afghanistan is the only country that doesn't end in an A, that starts with an A. So it's just one factoid per page. It's pretty cool.
Interesting. Yeah.
So it's about 300 or 400 factoids that you get to have minor epiphanies inside the epiphany of the page.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well,
and you'll get a copy of it. Don't worry.
I will. Okay. Because the next thing I want to talk about is, you are helping me republish my older books, the ones I did before, like Eat, Drink, and Be Merry, and It's Not Luck, Overcoming You. And this past July 4th, you helped me publish Pearls of Wisdom, Quotes to Inspire an Unapologetic Life. And it's just a book of quotes that I put together. And they're all the things that inspire me, because Ken inspires me to be the best version of me. And he always thinks ahead by a couple of years, and I have to catch up with his thoughts. But one of the things that he's done recently is he met one of my friends, and she happens to be blind. And Ken spoke to her and said, I have this epiphany. I have this great idea. And she loved it. Can we show, is that the next image that we have up there that we can share?
I'm getting scared because we're near the end of the show.
No, we're nowhere near it. We're about to break into our commercial, and then we're going to talk about you on the second half. Ken, please explain this book.
So she has a brilliant idea about bringing awareness to what the blind go through. And she has a book coming out called Blind Economy. And I said, to get your name really out there, let's jolt the world with what it is to be blind. So we are making a blind coffee table book. You can see this one's in full color. There's a black and white version as well. Same exact cover and same exact insides. And you go through her entire book and you see the Eiffel Tower, you see the Matador, and the final page is you seeing her holding her blind coffee table book, looking in the mirror, and every page is black. Every page is black except for the white lettering at the bottom saying what it is. And the idea of this is we don't know what it's like to be blind, but this is a small glimpse, if you will, of going through Gail's eyes and seeing no matter what she sees. And by the way, she's been to these places, which is awesome. And the end of the book is to wake people up that they can actually embrace the blind in three areas. One is safety, the other one is technology, and the third one is economy. So safety is traffic lights, IT is websites that are blind friendly, and the unemployment, there's 75% of blind people that are unemployed, and there's no reason for it. We can scoop them up, have the most loyal employees, the most talented employees, and have our companies more rich with loyalty.
I love it. You and Gail are about to jolt the world, because the only thing in that book that a blind person can actually relate to is the Braille. And then we see black. And
Yes.
When she said that, it was very jolting to think that here we are saying, oh, I love your red shirt. And she says, oh, thank you. I have no idea. I just know that there's a code on my tag on my shirt that I know that it matches whatever this pants is or this dress is. They're codes, so she can feel what the color coordination is. And you forget about that as sighted people, what they go through without sight. And we say things like, see you later.
Right.
And
or my favorite that she shared with me is that people send her photos, send her pics.
Yeah,
on her phone.
they send her text photos with on her text.
Yes.
She's like,
Yes.
Interesting. I have no idea. Thank you for the photo. So there's just so much that Gail has opened our eyes to. And I just love that she's in our world, and that you'll be able to bring her story out so she can help more people who are blind, sight impaired, however you want to say it. She says blind. It's what it is. I am not impaired. I don't see anything.
Right.
and to bring that kind of awareness out to the world. And now we are about to go to commercial for a little bit. And I know we have to go to commercial. And thank you, all of you who are watching right now. Please share the live stream. We're about to go to commercial and meet some of our sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to dive into actual Dr. Smiley, Mr. Ken Rochon. Okay, Dr. Ken Rochon. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Mental Shift. My name is Dr. Michelle Mras, and today's guest is Dr. Smiley, otherwise known as Ken Rochon. Remember, TNC is a live stream platform of online shows for people on the go, so please watch all of our shows as seen on the screen. Now, imagine having your own show, your own playlist, your own content, but we make it easier for you. TNC aims to transform the lives of our viewers through engaging, authentic, and original content. Our vision is to become a global 24/7 live stream channel that showcases Filipino talent, global influencers, cultural intelligence, and ingenuity. Watch Mental Shift, you're watching it right now, on replay or live via Facebook or YouTube every Tuesday night in the United States at 7:30 Mountain Time, or Wednesday morning, 7:30 a.m. in the Philippines. Now, follow us, TNC, on Instagram and listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search hashtag TNC Now, TNCNOW. For sponsorships, please email now@thenewchannel.com or send a direct message straight to the new channel. So enjoy these life-changing shows because we made them just for you. And welcome back. Where is my guest, Dr. Smiley?
I am here.
You
And I
are
gotta
here.
say, I had to vacate for a little bit because that music during the break was jamming. I mean, I was dancing all around this basement. It is awesome music. I didn't want it to end.
Stay on. I will keep playing. No, my thing is, and I wanted you back on the show because the last time you were on, we had just met and I thought you were really cool. I wanted you back on the show because as a partner in Amplifluence, there is so much more we're bringing to the world. And for those of you who are watching and you're thinking, well, they haven't come to my part of the world, invite us. We'll come. And was that the Field of Dreams? If they build it, they will come, or you
If they
build it.
got that music, we will be there.
Well, we'll be in the Philippines because I'm pretty sure, we've got events happening in the Philippines that we need to get to. Now, Ken,
Well, and also, I made too many of these cards, and unless we have everyone coming over here to get them, I got to go over there and bring them, right?
you've got to go over there and hand them out to everybody, or go to one of my family reunions. I'm pretty sure we can get a good 500 out. So, Ken, tell us more about you and your driving force. So, you met Barry Shore, but before that, you said you're a DJ. What's driven you to be this Renaissance man, to this incredibly perpetually happy man that you are? I know your backstory, but other people don't, and they see all these things that you're doing, and you from the outside world, it's like, wow, this guy's got a lot of books. He's doing a lot of things. What caused this? What was your catalyst? What was your mental shift in your life?
Well, first of all, I thought you were going to tell everyone my backstory, so I wouldn't have to be on the show. But now that you didn't, I have to do it myself. So I get it. So my mental shift was several levels, actually. One level was I was an Army brat, and in the public school system, I was probably undiagnosed with ADHD, hyperactivity. And
No.
my mom said I was never bored. Not a day in my life I was bored. But I also couldn't focus. So they would throw me in a corner and just draw. And one of the things I loved was studying Michelangelo and Da Vinci at the age of second grade, whatever age that is. And as I delved deeper into Da Vinci, I really grew to love how he used the right and left brain. Didn't know if I could explain it that well at that age, but I love that he could just go into science and invention and creativity, and then he could go completely into creativity. And so I really trained both muscles in the brain to be very analytical and very creative. And so I'm right and left-handed. And I think the mental shift was learning that all the things that I was different about were actually going to be ways of actually setting myself apart in business. And there was a very long time I was bullied. I didn't probably have a lot of confidence. And as I just worked really hard to make sure that I learned things. Whenever I was afraid of something, I would do it. So the reason I became a DJ, I was afraid of a mic. I was afraid of crowds. And so for 2 years, Michelle, I was a DJ, and people would say, "Can you make this announcement?" And I would get on the mic and I'd make it so soft, and I would say, "Okay, I did it." And they would say, "We didn't hear it. We didn't hear it." And so eventually I got very comfortable on the mic. And then I became an officer, and I became a teacher. Every single thing that I was afraid of, I just did. And the big wake-up call was my mom getting Alzheimer's. When she was diagnosed with dementia, my dad decided he would take a sabbatical from the military at NSA, and he was going to take care of my mom. Very much like a Notebook. I mean, that movie was almost like their life. They met at age 16, and he loved her, and he took care of her. And so when she had dementia, there was no one else that was going to take care of her better than my dad. And so my thank you to my dad and my mom was to do the same, be a caregiver. And in doing that, that was the mental shift. I realized that what I was doing in my life was not purpose driven. I didn't know what I was going to say on my tombstone. I didn't know if I was making a difference in the world. I'd done 2,500 weddings, but I didn't know if that is even making a difference in the world. So I decided to make some commitments. I said, I'm going to have a child. I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to write a book. And I just came up with these three things. And I said, let me focus on these three. And so I've been to 104 countries. The hardest one I thought was going to be the easiest was having a son. That was the hardest thing. My wife and I practiced, and it just was not happening. So thank goodness for science that there's something called in vitro, because my son is a miracle baby on so many levels. And he is my biggest gift. And then writing a book that came out 2009. It was a financial disaster. It was an embarrassment to my family. My dad was a speechwriter. My mom was a prolific writer, teacher, reader, historian. But my mom was gone, and my dad was recovering from losing his wife. So I did my best shot. And it was so bad that I thought it was God's joke on me. And I thought, this is not what I'm supposed to do with my life. So I prayed about it. And what I came up with was God told me, this is how you do it wrong. Help people do it right. And so I mustered up $3,000 or $4,000 and I redid the book, and it started taking off. And it took about 5 years for me to sell 8,000 copies, but it became a success, and it caused people to come to me and say, do that for me. So for my first book being as bad as it was, it could have easily been like so many others that say, well, I gave it a try. That's not for me. So 37 books later, I have Epiphanies, which is a nice highlight of each of my books. And it's my favorite book. It's the book. The reason I rewrote the book for second edition, Michelle, is because it's the book I care about making better every single 2 or 3 or 6 months. Yeah, because it is my masterpiece. I think this is my biggest gift to humanity. And Epiphanies is my masterpiece of what I've learned. And it's my best download I can give my son. And it doesn't go as deep as I'd like it to in all the books, but then it would be this thick. It's a really nice, every page is rich with information. If you want to take a deep dive into music, if you want to take a deep dive into YouTube, if you want to take a deep dive into books that'll change your life, that is the book to look at.
Thank you so much for sharing your mental shift, because you have one more that I want you to share, because a lot of people have not realized, well, they have realized, because during the COVID time, it shifted a lot of things, and it actually put you on overdrive. So can you share with the audience your other mental shift that you also had when things went rough? Are you willing to share that one?
I am. Can you give me a hint? Because I've had a couple rough ones. Which rough one? Because we talked about, are you talking about my office?
You lost. Well, you were a DJ. You lost
Yeah.
all business because your job was based on people meeting.
Yeah, events. So I've had 2 jolts to my system as a DJ. Number one was I had a very dear friend that was so close. I never would have guessed I ever would have had to doubt this person, but they actually embezzled almost $175,000, and it took a very long time to recover. And it taught me about systems and checks and balances, but I recovered. It took 3 years. So one thing I will say, and this, I know this wasn't the question you were asking, but the biggest lesson I've learned in life is about tenacity. It's about patience and persistence, the positive side of it. But tenacity, you can never stop in doing what you believe, because eventually it's going to have a tipping point. Malcolm Gladwell illustrates this beautifully in the same titled book, Tipping Point, but also in Outliers, also in David and Goliath. In every book he's done, he takes a scientific approach to human behavior and why things work and why they win. So the most recent one is you talking about, I lost every event, 99% of my income was gone. And I don't know about the average person because I didn't talk to everybody, but a lot of people seem to illustrate that they had stability in their job and that it would had protection, and their life did not get really crazy. And a lot of other people that were in the event space, for instance, they were able to have their tax system correctly compensate loans that would allow them, again, not to have their life really turned upside down. I did not plan for 6 of my businesses to be event related and event connected, and that it would go down to 1% of my income. So I pivoted, and when we lost 99% of our income, and by the way, it was over 99%, I'm being generous. When you lose 380, 79 events out of 380, that's almost 99.9%. And my wife said to me, she said, we've lost everything. there's not really money in the reserves, and we've lost our future, and we have our deposits that we've lived off of. What do you know that this happened? I go, yeah, I'm very clear on this. And she goes, well, what are we going to do? And I said, I don't know. And she says, you don't seem to be worried. And I wasn't. And she said, why aren't you worried? And I said, I don't know. But I thought about that a lot, because why would someone not worry about having to look up the word annihilation? I did not know how to spell what was happening to me. I did not know how to spell annihilate, which has an H in it, by the way. The reason I was not scared was two things. One was hope, and the other one was mental shift. It was saying something good will come out of this. I was completely clear that if I believed that this was God's way of saying, you're ready for your next level, you're ready for your next phase, you're ready for your next challenge, this will take you to another level. And my publishing company thrived. It absolutely went bonkers. And many thanks to you, Michelle. You saw the brilliance in a company that just needed one person to believe in it. Now, I had a lot of people that were fluxing in the question of, if my life matters, what am I doing to show that there's a legacy to it? What am I doing to enrich people because of my download? Because I could be dead next from COVID. But what you did was you gave me this beautiful, beautiful project called Hold My Crown. And it has spawned off probably 12 people that want to do their own Hold My Crown compilation. And I'm going to tell you, this is a big number, but I'm not kidding you. I think we're going to do 100 compilations because of your book. Because I know math. I know math. And
math, yes.
The influx we're having of interest in doing something like what you've done has caused this business to, I don't want to do the Grant Cardone cliche 10x, but it's probably more than 10x. It's really, really amazing. I'm breathing with saying, I just want to be creative. We've hired 4 people to handle all the automated aspects of the company, and I'm being freed up to just be Dr. Smiley, and Dr. Smiley is alive. Yes, yeah. Creative.
Well, and Katie said, God will provide. And Apple, thanks for joining us. And Helene, yes, thank you so much for saying that. Helene's talking about the book you helped me with, the my quote book, Pearls of Wisdom. I quote a lot of Winnie the Pooh. I love Winnie the Pooh. And she and then Kai is in there, and Michelle says hi. So there's so much that you bring to the world by being authentically you, unapologetically, and that you open doors for so many other people to give back to the world. And that's why I wanted you to share your mental shifts, because you had several kind of back to back. And instead of crumbling, you rose. You rose because you had hope. And what do you say hope stands for again?
It stands for hold on, pain ends, and DOSE stands for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. There's another part of the mental shift that happened when I did the first book, though. I wondered why so many people weren't successful with their book. And it was one, they didn't know how to finish it. They didn't know how to make it attractive. They didn't know how to cause it to be engaging. And they didn't know how to market it. And they didn't know how to strategically cause it to make more abundance happen. And do I have a minute here to share this part?
Oh, easily.
Okay. So when you make a book and it has a nice cover, but no one knows about it, it's still a secret. And if you think that making the book is 99% of the effort, which so many people think it's 99% or 98 or 97, 96, 95, but right around that part that's the most of where you put your effort. My book's 1% effort. And it's not because it doesn't take time. It takes time. But in the scope of what I'm going to do with that book, 99% of the book will be actually showing the world the book, marketing the book, going to 50 cities, going to countries, because the book, like Hold My Crown, is at a different level than any other book you've ever had, Michelle, because we put so much energy after it was done, not to put into the book, but to tell the world. And I had this epiphany that I'm putting in my new book called Perfect Publishing, Have Your Book Impact the World. It's that if authors treated their books like babies, a newborn that they had to grow for 18 years, it would completely change the dynamic of how books impact the world. So I have 37 books, but I have 37 babies. You showed all those books, and all of them I care about. All of my want to, and we're talking tens of thousands of downloads, or tens of thousands of people know about each of those books, because I don't stop. because I don't know which one's going to change someone's life. If I met somebody from Denver, for instance, I would consider giving them the Denver edition. And this is just something I have handy, but I have 170 different Keep Smiling books. And I don't know if someone's going to be bald and they say, I want to see a book of bald people, or I want to see a book about multicultural and see 37 different languages of people. We have people like President, who's the president of Mexico, Vicente Fox. He has held Siga Sonriendo, and he represents our Spanish page in the multicultural book. So,
well, my goal when we go to the Philippines is we're going to make a Philippine book and have all of those cards. Hold up the card that says "Keep Smiling" in Tagalog.
I'm going to do one for you, and I'm going to do one for me.
Good job. We're going to bring this to the Philippines, and we're going to have people holding those cards up, and we're going to make a book, a Philippine book of Keep Smiling, and find a nonprofit that we can give to, or a group of people that we can give to about the for the nonprofit side.
The one part I think we've maybe missed the explanation of is, why would someone hold this card, or why is it important to talk about this card? And it's because it's a shift. It is the mental shift. It's the ultimate mental shift, because when you are smiling, you're in gratitude. You are experiencing love on some level. And when you do that, you start attracting positive things. You start becoming more creative. You start even becoming more attractive to even have things be attracted to you. So this card has changed my life, because for 1 year I said, when I get up in the morning, no matter what my mood is, even if it's good, I want to shift it even higher into Keep Smiling. So what happened when things would normally get me down, they didn't get me down anymore, because I trained my mind so quickly to shift out of negativity. So when someone's running late, I actually smile, because I say, they just gave me more time to catch up, or they gave me a chance to breathe, or they gave me a chance to do emails. I have never, ever had someone late on me and I go, I am so upset with that. They just gave me a gift. And so it's a smile.
And that's one of the things that drew me to you, is that Keep Smiling, because I'm always smiling, and people tease me that I'm always happy. Even when I'm miserable, I'm happy. And they're like, how are you always happy? I'm not always happy. I choose to smile. I choose to shift the energy. And that's part of who I am, because I've gone through some dark things and I don't want to be there. I don't want to choose to stay there. And then when I met you in Orlando in July, and you said, can you hold this Keep Smiling card? And you said more than that. You said, can you hold this card? I have a bracelet on my neck.
Think about what you love, and think
what
about
do you love?
What do you love, and what are you grateful for?
Yes. And my smile got bigger, and that's the one he got. And so when he takes these pictures, it's not just someone holding the card doing this. It's someone holding the card doing this. Big difference.
Yes. Yeah. So I've really enjoyed that. I can go into a restaurant and hand that card to someone, and my experience at that. And you've been at restaurants where
I've been with you when you're walking down the street, see a homeless person, and you hand them a pile of cards, and the whole energy shifts, and they're smiling, and everything changes. I've seen you change lives with the card.
And my son has too. My son has no inhibition about going to a security guard, a police officer, a vendor, a restaurateur, and giving the card. And the next thing, he gets everything, a smile back, courtesy.
Our producer, our director, Apple, just said, can we have a Keep Smiling on TNC, a Keep Smiling show on TNC?
Oh, we should.
Yes, she says it'll definitely help a lot of people. Now, what was I want to do something for Helene. And for those who tend to watch, they know I tend to do something. I do it all the time. So I have to do it since we're on this topic. You mind?
I do. Do it.
Do it. Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by if you smile through your tears and sorrow. Smile, and maybe tomorrow. That's for you, Helene. And for all of you who are out there thinking, sometimes life is rough. It is. But there's always a reason to smile.
Yes, there is.
Right, Ken?
Totally. 100%. Everything in life gets better when you smile.
Yes.
And there's a cellular reaction to it too. When
It
you're
is.
smiling, you get into a wellness where your body fights to actually have vitality for you. And thank you.
Well, as a fact, actually, with my surgeries, I healed faster than everyone else in the ward. And the doctor said it was because I was smiling, because
Same
I
with Barry.
was so joyful. I was so joyful, even through my pain. I was entertaining them. I was getting them to laugh and, don't worry about me. I've got this, and I would laugh with them and we'd tell stories. And they said, you know what? We just want to stay in the room with you. And the doctor's like, your wounds have healed. Like
Mhm.
you've been here a week. You've only been here for 6 hours. And then he's like, it's because you are so full of joy. Your cells are multiplying faster and fixing things faster. There's magic in what you do. Keep smiling. And now I'm like,
There's two words that you would never think go together, but they're the most interesting words besides keep smiling. Smiles infectious,
yes.
because they have this ability to change someone else. And if you look at life, there's negative forces and positive forces, and the stronger one will win. And when you are battling with a smile, you typically win. Because people let go of the fact. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I just read a comment from Apple. Thank you, Apple. She says, now I completely understand why you look beautiful all the time. Smile makes the big difference. I'm always
Yes.
smiling. It's hard to look at someone who's smiling and do, boy, they look really horrible. No, they're smiling, so they always look good. It's really, yes.
Even
Thank
if
you.
you're missing teeth, you look good smiling. That's the
You've
thing.
got a book like that, don't you? You have a book
I
of people
do.
smiling and all missing teeth?
I wish I had the completion of it. I have some people in there, but they're my favorite
Okay.
pages.
Now, Ken, we only have about 4 minutes left. I know you're going to cry about that.
I am not happy. I mean, I'm going to keep smiling though.
Well, I would love for you to share like a pearl of wisdom from Dr. Smiley, because I love being around you because you help me see life differently. Sometimes, my regiment of rules must be followed. You always find another way to doing, you know what? But there's another way. Have you looked at that? And I know you've told me that you found me because I was glowing on stage. And you said it was that light inside of you. You were smiling through everything that you were sharing. It was your light. And you helped me see new things. And for someone who's as positive as I am, you still help me see new things. So what would you like to share with our audience tonight that might, shift something in their lives, give them a mental shift for tonight? Another one.
I'll do 2 or 3 as quick as I can. So,
Okay.
number one, Henry Ford, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. So just understand that you choose whether you're going to fail or succeed. Number two, Dr. Ben Carson, he had a bracelet that was very big in gold and said, think big. And when I saw how big he thought, because he grew up in the ghetto, his mom made him read books every single day, and she was illiterate. She did not know how to read. So he's a great example. And then the big thing is how precious life is. And if you can actually get into the habit of making someone's day I have a thing that I'm working on for a TED Talk, and it's called, What is your SPH? And what is your SPH, or what are your smiles per hour? And a lot of us have forgotten that we're allowed to smile as many times as a kid. And when you are smiling as much as a kid, you are living in wonder. So make the world wonderful with a smile as often as you can, because you're giving that gift to yourself as well.
I like that you have an amazing coach that will help you on that TED Talk, by the way.
I am so happy about it too. I mean, see the praise.
Yes, I see that praise. I'm his coach.
But I actually want to comment for 30 seconds about that. When you have a gift, be like Baskin and Robbins and give it to people that actually can taste it, experience it, because they become your biggest advocates and they tell the world that you're the one that changed their life. That's a very big mental shift.
Yes, and Ken, that's what we do with Amplifluence. We have taken my gifts and his gifts, put them together, grabbed onto Todd's gifts, and we're bringing them back, bringing it to the world for all of you to share with the abundance that we see and that we have together, and the amount of positivity and love that we have for the world shines through all of us together. So, Ken, thank you so much for joining me on Mental Shift. And Apple is loving smiles per hour, SPH. And Ken is awesome, which is why I wanted to bring him back on. Yes, we are going to the Philippines, and you're going to take a lot of pictures with that card. And here's the thing. If you're out there and you're wondering what mental shift can you have today, keep watching Mental Shift. You will hear stories from people who have experienced all sorts of things. We shared with tonight, Ken shared all sorts of different mental shifts he's had, from his life as a military brat to finding himself, to his mother and losing his mother, finding himself again, losing everything during COVID, finding himself again, and still finding a reason to give back to the world and give hope to the world, because hold on, pain ends. My name is Michelle Mras, and this is Dr. Smiley. Oh, wait, I'm Dr. M. Excuse me, I'm Dr. M. Thank you so much for joining us on Mental Shift, and we will see you again next week, Tuesday, same bat channel, same bat time. And until then, be well, be the best version of you. And Ken, be unapologetic.
Oh, okay.
Smiling. Good night, everybody.